Hi Fad Campers, it's Grace here and I have some new stand updates I'd love to tell you about. If you're based in the UK, I will be doing some dates in July and August and I'd love to see some of you there. I'll be in Leeds doing a work in progress with Amy Annette on July 4th in the Hyde Park Book Club. I'll be in Brighton on July 6th with Alison Spittle in the Comedia Comedy Club, and I'm going to be doing my own work in progress show in Glasgow on July 12th at Good Egg Comedy. Also then, I will be at the Edinburgh Fringe, of course, for the entirety of August, from July 30th to August 24th. I'll be at the Assembly George's Square, the Crate, 10 to 3 every day. Would love if you could tell anyone you know who's going to be at the Edinburgh Fringe to come see my show. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.
What's the best way to reduce? Eat plenty or starve yourself?
30 pounds in just 18 weeks. Jenny Craig totally worked.
I love to eat, but overeating made it impossible to lose weight.
My body wants bread, and I'm gonna give my body what it wants.
Oh my God.
So I lost
Naturally.
Medical studies prove that overeating is the number one reason for weight gain. If you need to lose weight, use safe and natural springs away and bring your weight down without the use of synchronized.
Welcome to Fad Camp, a podcast that throws a comedy eye over our societal obsession of diets. Now, a little disclaimer, we are not health experts, but we are fad diet connoisseurs. I'm your host, comedian Grace Mulvey.
And I'm your co-host, Conor Dowling.
Welcome to Fad Camp.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new stunning episode of Fad Camp. Grace, how are you getting on?
Stunning is underselling
Stunning,
what this episode is.
Brilliant.
I am so excited for this episode. You can already hear the thrill in my voice because we get to talk about something that really I haven't heard many people talk about, and I just need to discuss it on the pod with you.
Absolutely.
And we've been trying to ignore each other, I think, for a bit so that we wouldn't discuss the topic because because I've been like, I need, you know, when you watch something, you're like, I'm percolating to talk about this.
Oh, absolutely. Well, today, folks, we're talking about the Liver King, which is a name that I can barely say without retching just a little bit.
I know, it's disgusting. Yeah.
To begin, we're going to start by playing the voice note that inspired this episode, a voice note from Grace, and here you go.
Oh my God, Conor, I'm just watching the Liver King thing. Oh, we have to go for it. Oh my God, like, I'm laughing so much at this. Oh, it's actually nuts. Like, the world's gone fucking nuts. Please, just watch it. I think you would cover it so well.
Okay, wow. So I don't think even I've made Grace laugh that much. I've never heard you laugh that much in our entire friendship.
Can I just say, so I sat down to watch this documentary, and you know when you're kind of like, it was a real Sunday evening. It was exactly what I wanted to watch. And I just think we'll go into it, but it's a documentary of two halves, and the second half is probably the funniest stuff I've ever seen in my life. And I just couldn't actually finish the documentary without sending you a voice message. It is the most hysterical, because we'll go into why it's so funny, but like, oh lads, please. I think if you haven't watched The Liver King, stop what you're doing right now. Stop listening to the podcast. Go watch it. Come back. Because we're going to go into detail about this. But, I was in hysterics. I couldn't stop laughing. It was so stupid. All of it was so stupid.
But you decided to let me do the episode because I'm like the alpha male testosterone.
Because I think you would. I think if you had told me that maybe 10 years ago you might have eaten some balls, I'd be like,
you believe me?
Conor, I just think out of the two of us, who was going to fall for the Liver King more?
That is fair enough. There probably was a time when I was a vulnerable young man in search of a guidance that I may have fallen into this trap. But thankfully, funnily enough, I somehow managed to not know anything about him until I feel like maybe I had seen like some thumbnails and went, well, obviously that's not anything I want to see.
Yeah.
You know, had you any awareness of him before the documentary popped up on Netflix? By the way, the documentary is called Untold, the Liver King.
Yeah. No, do you know what's funny? I think I saw him in some thumbnails of interviews as well on YouTube, but I thought he was the guy, you know, from September 6th, the attack in the streets on Capitol Hill.
Sure,
remember that guy?
Yeah.
Who looked like, again, he like kind of stole from the middle aisle of Lidl. And so I thought I mistook him for him. And I was like, how are they even interviewing this man? But no, and do you know why? It just shows you how fragmented the internet is now.
Yeah.
How we are in our own spheres.
Totally.
Of like, you can be an incredibly famous person and I will never have heard of you, even though a lot of people my age might have heard of you. I am not his target audience.
Yes.
And as a vegan, you are not his target audience. Yeah.
Exactly. So thankfully our algorithms managed to not see any of his nonsense. But like you said, because of the way the internet is, like there can be these whole pockets where he has millions of followers and he's making all this money and has this massive following and you could just literally never heard of them. Whereas, you know, years ago, like kind of before that type of fame, like, you know, if someone was that big, like you would kind of just hear about them. Like,
well, it's like on osmosis, even back in the day, like if someone was even if you didn't watch Big Brother, say when Big Brother was huge or the X Factor, you would recognize who was in it because you would have seen it in magazines, TV. You would have gotten it from the culture. But now the culture is just completely fragmented. It's so weird. It is so mad. Like, yeah.
For anyone wondering who has yet to lay their eyes on this man, or if you're not going to watch the documentary yet, that's totally fine. When you first see the Liver King, you know, he's a very beardy, shirtless, muscly man. And, you know, 99% of people who see him would immediately think, oh, this guy's like definitely on steroids. But the documentary gives us an introduction to who he is and helps us find answers to that mystery. We'll talk more about the steroids aspect of it later. So I'll give you a little bit of information on who this man is and how he became the Liver King. So he was born Brian Johnson, and he found viral vein through...
Sorry, Brian Johnson sounds like a made-up name.
That's
it's like he's called Brian Bronson. You know what I mean? Like a Brian Bronson. Like that's a name that I'm like, well, you're a con man. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And apparently he called himself like the runt of the litter. He was very like, you know, like thin and plain, and you know, he idolized like people like, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone growing up. He found viral fame through these bizarre videos promoting the quote-unquote ancestral lifestyle and performing these ill-advised strength stunts online and eating raw, unprocessed animal organs, specifically, you guessed it, liver. And he insisted that an all-natural and raw carnivorous diet, not just the carnivore diet, a raw carnivorous diet was the key to health and happiness, and that it could make you as jacked as him. And we have talked about the carnivore diet before. And to be honest, there was a guy who, you know, these people are also forgettable in the long run. Like, you know, like you kind of hear about them, they're flash in the pan, but there was a guy on that who was a big proponent of the carnivore diet. I can't even remember his name, but we did a whole episode. We talked to this guy as a podcast, and he's got all these world records and stuff like that. So the Liver King makes that guy look tame, you know, with the way he kind of presents himself. Yeah. In the documentary, we learned that after racking up millions of followers across multiple social media platforms, his company, which sells supplements, started making more than $100 million a year through supplement sales, ads, sponsorship deals, and other revenue streams. And as part of his all-natural diet, he recommends bone broth, which is like, you know, kind of like standard. Yeah. Uncooked eggs.
Kind of Paltrow, to be honest with you.
Yeah, oh, totally. They could be pals. They could be friends. Yeah. Uncooked eggs. This one raised my eyebrow that they mention a lot in the documentary. Fertilized eggs. Fertilized, raw fertilized eggs. Raw beef livers, testicles, which is, you know, we have a whole segment on testicles coming up. tongues and other organs. And of course, we get to see in the documentary him enjoying or claiming to enjoy all of this food.
So wait, fertilized eggs, you mean that they would have been chicks?
So yeah, it's like, to you or I, like a fertilized egg probably wouldn't actually be very different. Like, because you know, if we ate it, we would cook it and all of that. But his idea is that because it's fertilized, it means that I'm still not too clear on how the whole egg thing works. Like, even as an adult, I'm like, wait, you know, so like from this is my very generic understanding, an egg, a typical egg is like more like the menstrual waste of a chicken, right? Yeah. But a fertilized one is like, oh no, a male chicken or a rooster or whatever has gotten in there. Gotten in there, and it's the circle of life, baby. But
done the business. Yeah.
Lays the egg, and then the Liver King swoops in and takes it.
And I'm just sorry. I just was like, I wonder how different it tastes.
Apparently, there's very little difference in taste. Yeah. And but the idea is it's all about potential. You know, it's like, well, this has the potential to grow into a baby chick. So some of the food habits that pop up in the documentary. So his sons eat 15 fertilized eggs a day.
Stop. I can't, go on. I watched this and I still am like, yeah.
His wife eats a cow testicle per day. And she claims that, you know, her thing is it's all about the hormones. You know, it's like, you know, like women need a little bit of testosterone as well. And, you know, like, you know, everyone talks about hormones and trying to manage like their hormones, especially like as they get older and stuff. So she's like, you know, if you've got like too much estrogen in your body, like eat a raw bull testicle to kind of balance that out. Like, this is the kind of mentality. These are the people that we're dealing with.
Yeah. And by the way, they're just full on at the first part of that documentary. When I say it is intense, like it's just ripping, you know, I don't know if anyone's ever watched I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, but that's what they do is the challenge.
Yes.
Like, their challenges is trying to eat this stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I will say, not once does anyone ever say, I enjoy eating this. No one's being a proponent and being like, yeah, like I love the taste.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he makes it seem like it's the most important thing. I know we're retching right now just talking about it. Like, it's so gross. It's so wrong. And they revel in it, though. They do revel in it. Like, and it's like this, it is like a challenge. And it's so funny with like the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Cause like I used to watch that show and I used to hate that part of the show so much, and particularly the way they treat insects and snakes and like all these creatures. Like, it's really horrible. Like, you know. Yeah. Obviously, you know, I've mentioned before on the show, like I'm a vegan, I don't eat meat, and I'm just really like it's not even controversial to say I'm against like animal cruelty, like, you know, and to see like animals' bodies being kind of like used as these props like that for gross out factor, really, like, or to prove that you're manly or something. Like, it's just so disrespectful and gross, you know.
Yeah. Particularly, I mean, but I'm a Celebrity, I suppose it takes it a step further, where this is part of a competition. Like, it's not even like different if you're surviving, because it's actually your food source.
It's not in your kitchen pantry, like, you know.
Yeah. These people are like, also like a lot of them are quite wealthy people just going for the crack eating, you know what I mean? Yeah. Something that doesn't need to, that's alive as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
What was really interesting to me in the documentary was how so he had this supplement brand and he was making his little videos on the internet and he was creating this following, and he developed this like this lifestyle that he was calling the ancestral lifestyle, and it was a return to ancestral living, you know. So that's like very, very attractive terminology, like for people who are like, we're too much on our phones, we're too much, you know. I think everyone can kind of agree, like, like modern life, we're a little bit kind of disconnected from nature and stuff like that. So he's like the absolute kind of like extreme epitome of that. And that ethos caught the eye of this like branding and publicity marketing company that then started working with him to help him create content, build an audience.
I think he approached them first, in fairness.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, but they were excited to work with him because they felt that people would get behind his message, you know, and they did. And they turned him from, you know, someone with like 20, 30,000 followers on Instagram to like millions of followers across like all platforms. So like they really kind of like created him and created this illusion, you know, and he totally leaned into it. To talk about his family a little bit, like during the documentary, he claims that like when his sons were young, like they were weak and riddled with allergies and like nothing was helping them.
He made out that they were quite sick. Like I will say that from interviews, even like in the documentary, this guy was on podcast after podcast. He was like, they were ill, they were sick, they had to go to hospital constantly. Never sort of like
being specific,
giving any specific about what exactly they were ill with.
Yeah.
And he just like, they were like just weak.
Yeah.
By the way, the way he talks about those kids, those weak little shriveled kids I had, and I was like, okay, like, because I came away from the documentary as well being like, oh yeah, because he said his sons were like so ill and stuff like that. But even in the articles I've been researching afterwards, like people are kind of zoning in on the fact that like the specificity of that is they were weak and they had lots of allergies, you know, so that's not to so there's not like a specific story of, oh, they had this condition and then, you know, but he basically says like, you know, he turned them from like weak boys into like, you know, strong. And because his supplements as well are like beef mallow or something, like very like, again, just meat in a pill.
So
like,
here's the funny thing, what's so tempting about these kind of things, right? About a year or two ago, my partner was struggling really badly with allergies. She still struggles with allergies. Right. Like it's just like really debilitating. She has to take like, you know, Zyrtec every day. And even then it's like still difficult. And a friend of mine, or a loose kind of,
Conor, you're backing away from this acquaintance.
I know. Well, I'm like, well, now that it's like more like, yeah, they're a friend. I'm like, well, actually, no, there's someone who I kind of know on social media who's like not really a friend, but like we're, you know, in touch. And they were talking about how they cured their allergies, you know, and this is someone who like follows the carnivore diet, and I'm like aware that they're into some kind of out there stuff, but they said that they take these supplements, and they sent me a link to these supplements, and I was like, oh shit, like ancestral supplements. Wow. Okay. What are these? They look legit. They sound legit. Some of those ingredients. And I'm kind of going like, like, you know, as a vegan and as someone who doesn't eat meat, like I wouldn't take these myself. Like I don't really support that. Like I was seeing beef tallow and something to do with something from sheep and something from bulls and so on. Like, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good. But like, you know, my partner isn't vegetarian or anything like that. Like, so like, you know, so I was like recommending them to her and being like, what? And she was like, oh, some of these ingredients sound kind of fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, if I had have known that they were from this Liver King guy, I would have been like, absolutely not. Like, it's clearly snake oil, you know?
I love the idea of you giving your partner like a bull testicle and be like, might help the allergies. She's like, can I cook it? Absolutely not. Eat that raw, baby girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, so there's this growing discourse like in the world of like stripping back from like modern life and recapturing these like ancestral claims that are lost in modern society. He talks about like the concept of like masculinity and crisis, which is not like a new thing. But there has been like a recent kind of rise in like male personalities advertising to men to like reclaim their masculinity, you know, like people like Joe Rogan or Logan Paul or Andrew Tate, who's like, you know, an international sex criminal. And it's all like, it's so interesting to me because I feel like he talks about like, you know, we have to go back to being like living our like how our ancestors lived, you know? And honestly, it's funny because I remember years ago when I was on the slow carb diet and Tim Ferriss was saying like, you know, oh, like our ancestors didn't have access to all these foods at all this time of year, like, you know, and they were just fine. And I was like, yeah, actually what? Like, you know, I don't need to eat fruit. Like my ancestors wouldn't have had access to fruit like in the winter. That makes so much sense. And I remember saying it to my friend at the time, still my friend Lorraine, who I know listens to the podcast, so shout out Lorraine. And I remember saying it to her and her being like, but like, the life expectancy was like so low back then, like, and people just died of like, you know, really like, you know, simple viruses and things like that. And I remember just being like, oh yeah, that's such a good point. But when it's like sold to me by this guy, it just like makes so much sense for some reason. And this Liver King is doing the exact same thing.
What I find so interesting about this, because it is at the moment, there seems like a big upheaval. Sure, look at even the trad wife and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And people being like, let's go back to our simpler ways. If you speak to anyone over the age of 60 and you're like, you know, do you want to go back to, say, churning butter? You know, if you were, my mom didn't have an indoor toilet until she was 18.
Yeah.
You want to talk to her and go like, do you want to go back to ancestral living? Do you want to go back to pissing in a field?
Simpler time, yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, lads, I don't think we talk to enough older people who go like, yeah, I have wine, I have processed food.
Yeah.
Like, I think we kind of, it's like this weird thing we're caught up in. But what really makes me laugh about the Liver King is that our ancestors did have fire. Why aren't you cooking these bull testicles?
Absolutely.
Why are you cooking the liver? You're like, oh yeah, eat it raw. They had fire. Like, very famously, man discovered fire, and we had a great old time with it.
Like, how far back are you going in the timeline?
Are we going back to like when we were kind of like little lizards in the sea or something? Is that how far you want to go back to? Babe?
Are we going back to pre-fire? Like, that's pretty
like,
fucking far, man.
That's pretty far. Like, I don't know if he even gathers that.
No.
And again, one thing that I find so interesting, because I do have a real interest in archaeology, we are discovering more and more that we absolutely got it wrong about how our ancestors lived. Like, we were mostly plant eaters, a bit of meat every so often.
Yeah.
Like, and even the way like women and men work together was completely different. Like, we have it totally wrong. So, and that's just something we're always going to keep learning. You should always keep learning. But this weird fixated idea people have, it's so mad to me. You know what I mean?
So a side note, just while I remember it, he does mention in the documentary that the first orgasm he ever had occurred spontaneously while he was bench pressing. He was like working out and he had a spontaneous hands-free orgasm and was like, whoa.
Conor, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
That was probably the moment that you sent me the voice note, to be fair.
I crying laughing, right? I just to go back a bit, right? Because all the information you're giving, I'm like, I want to hear all about it, but it's also like really, I just feel like I'm going to forget some points. One thing I wanted to bring up actually is how likable this guy, because it really is a documentary of two halves, right? The first half is obviously setting up this story, how he came to make how he came to have this physique, how he came to like make the supplements. When I say lads, this guy is actually, I found him quite likable at times.
Sure.
Like kind of a nice, like he's not like too, I don't know, he was kind of funny. Like he was kind of like, his family seemed like a lovely family. Like he was quite lovely. Like, but what I found so interesting is just like his whole take on masculinity. He was like, so my dad died when I was really young. And he's like, I didn't have any dad, but this is what I imagine my dad would want. And I'm like, oh yeah, that probably is actually quite a tale where again, we're just looking at a lack of role models for men.
Yeah.
And so then he's like, I just wanted to be the strongest man out there.
Yeah.
And then like the only way he could, I don't know, find a community was by bench pressing and then jizzing. You know what I mean? But I find that really interesting where he's like, I want my boys to be men. And you actually see his sons are quite kind of like thinner kids, if you know what I mean.
It's hard.
And
it's
I'm
hard.
like, I wonder what the pressure is at home now for you to be like this. You know what I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. And like I have some points to make on that as well. I really do. Like, I also wanted to mention briefly as well, like around the ancestral side of things and the liver, like why liver? Why does he eat liver? Like aside from like, a nutrient perspective, like it's believed that when a pack of lions in the wild hunt down a gazelle and they tear the gazelle apart, that the alpha male of the pack gets the liver. And they save the liver for the alpha male, so that's kind of the group, of the leader. So like it's this thing of kind of getting more and more, like I'm the alpha, the masculinity, the testosterone and all of that. Yeah. But I do also want to spend the majority of this episode talking about grown men eating raw animal testicles. Because like Grace, I see some issues with this, like it's hard not to just be like I'm not a psychologist, but like
But I don't think you need to be one.
I don't think you need to be like,
why
there's
are
something...
these grown men, why were they all so easily duped into eating raw testicles?
And especially if you're trying to portray this mask of masculinity, like this appearance of masculinity, that's what you go for. Like there's this amazing clip at the start of the documentary where there's someone interviewing him and they say, oh, so you eat a lot of organs, like, and you've eaten testicles? And he goes, yeah. You've eaten penis? He goes, yeah. He goes, have you eaten vagina? And then it just like, he pauses and then it just cuts. Like, and I just thought that was like...
The greatest opener of all time.
They had never even considered that was an option.
Never considered, yeah.
But like I think they talk about the masculinity crisis, like, and I think like watching this documentary, like, yes, there is a masculinity crisis, and we are watching it unfold in front of our eyes. And your solution is to eat raw animal testicles, because you claim that it's about getting testosterone and nutrients from the testicle. But like, this isn't about health, you know? This is, I was reading up on this, and it's like performative masculinity, you know? Yeah. And like men like him, they display this type of masculinity. It's like very like aggressive and violent, but it's actually coming from this like deep insecurity and a sense of like alienation from like themselves and society and other men. And they're like so worried about losing their edge and their strength and their relevance, you know, so they resort to these theatrical displays of what they think it means to be a man, you know?
And you see as well in the documentary, what's so interesting is that he's like, yeah, so as a kid, I kind of didn't have any friends, and I looked up to my brother because my brother was bigger and stronger, and I was like the weakling or whatever. And as I mentioned before, his dad died, unfortunately, kind of young, so he didn't have his dad. And so he just turned to the gym. And then he was like, yeah, so I'm kind of a shy guy. I'm not that... You see how his persona is completely fabricated.
Oh, totally.
Even as you mentioned that company came along and we're like, so we're a social media company. At the beginning, you see some of his first videos, he doesn't talk like that. Like, I think as well, like the whole way he presents himself online is so fake. Is so like, hey, this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
I'm moving a car, blah blah blah, like with my whole body. And then off camera he's just like boop doop doop.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And like, so this even performative masculinity is even performative for him.
Oh, absolutely.
In the videos, it's like cut and then he's like back to normal.
And sadly, as the audience, the young men in the audience are watching it going, oh, I want to be like him. You know, that's the peak of, you know, being like a strong man, you know? And it's interesting because I was also reading about it, and they're saying that like, and this is something that we've touched on in the past when we've talked about like bodybuilders and men like wanting to like be big and strong. It's like men are not performing for women, they're performing for other men, you know?
Oh, Conor.
Right?
Say that again.
Right?
Men are not performing for women, they're performing for other men. Even when it comes to this whole thing of like, you know, this whole thing of the male loneliness epidemic and things like that. And, you know, we're not here to talk about that right now, but like even the physique that men are going for, this bigger and like muscular yet lean, yet I could not tell you one woman. If these guys are out, if these guys are heterosexual and they want to impress women, I cannot tell you one woman who's like, that's what I look for in a man.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And
be less of course, there's exceptions to everything. I'm sure there's ladies out there who love a buff guy and all of that.
But for the majority, it's like absolutely not.
They're more concerned about their behavior and how they treat them. You know.
But also, I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, right? If you see a guy who's like that svelte and lean and blah blah, that's their whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, women do look at things kind of from a broader perspective. That if you see a guy that's his lifestyle, you're like, well, I don't really fancy going out with someone who's going to be in the gym 8 hours. Or actually, am I going to have a family with a guy who is in the gym that much, eating lean meat? Like, you know what I mean?
Who uses more fake tan than me, like, you know.
Like, but again, like, whatever, like, again, people are attracted to what they're attracted to, but like, for the most part, I think a lot of women go like, well, actually, I would love to just have a takeaway every so often and go on a holiday and not have to talk about protein intake. And I think that's like, it's just funny that like, again, the female gaze versus the male gaze, and that's what it really is about. But men are doing this for other men.
But then I still can't wrap my head around how strange is it that if you're a man exerting your masculinity for the benefit of other men, why does that manifest as putting balls in your mouth, eating the balls of animals. Like, it's so bizarre. But you know what? If you really want to be kind of like cynical about it, eating a video of someone eating balls on the internet is going to get clicks. It's going to go viral.
Cynical. Conor, he talks about that in the documentary. In the documentary, he's like, yeah, so they told me the only way you can get clicks online and view eyes, you have to do crazier and crazier things. Yeah. And so not only is he at first just eating the balls, next thing he's eating the balls while coming out of the sea. Next thing he's eating the balls while running with a truck attached to him. Yeah. Next thing he's like, also to shoot a bull, which this is the bit I found most offensive of the whole thing.
That was horrendous.
He shoots a bull, right? With a gun, a gold gun, which, listen, I'm not going to lie, I love gold, so, I don't mind that part. But, like, he shoots the bull. Then he does this whole sort of ritualistic, we thank the bull.
It's so disrespectful.
We all sit there, and then you cut the thing. And I'm like, you killed that bull for no other reason than to eat a liver raw. Like, there was no need to kill it.
It's a stunt. It's a pure stunt.
It's an absolute stunt. And it's a waste, frankly. But anyway, it's an absolute stunt. But like all of that is and he's honest about that. At one point he's standing, and this shows you how fake social media is, and that's really why I wanted to cover this, like even for you to cover it, because obviously it inhabits so much stuff, but how fucking fake it all is. He is standing in front of 3 screens with his videos, and he's like, oh, someone told me that you just have to have them constantly on rotation so that you get more clicks for the algorithm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, is that, by the way, the height of masculinity, caring? Like he's basically just like, I need to make sure that I have the views. Yeah. And like, so it's like, so this isn't even organic.
No, it's
all
not.
Of it's just forced.
And let's not forget, this is someone who is advocating detachment from modern living. He tells you, he says, keep your cell phone away from your dick and balls, which, maybe isn't terrible advice. I don't know. We don't know. But his whole income and brand and personality, it all depends on people being hooked on their phones, finding him on social media. So like there's a disconnect there. And I also find it quite interesting because like I feel like there's shades of this in the apple cider vinegar story, which we'll probably talk about at another time. But like,
this is the yin to the yang.
It really is. It's so interesting. You're totally right. There's the wellness world version of it, and there's like the testicle eating hypermasculine version of it. But like if you're just a normal person and you get caught up in like an extreme fad diet or extreme like workout regime, and you go too far, you fly too close to the sun, your lifestyle becomes so extreme that it has some sort of negative effects on your body or on your relationships. You go, oh fuck, what was I thinking? I went a bit full on there, lads. Like, and I'm sorry, I was a pain in the ass to hang out with, for a few months, or like I got to get myself back on track or whatever, right? No big deal. But if you do that and it becomes your livelihood, you can't get out of it. All you can do is go deeper into it and double down even more. I just want to say one more thing about testicles is.
Conor, you're obsessed with these testicles.
I'm obsessed. Like, how can I not be like, But like, he says at one stage, I'm going to attempt to eat my body weight in testicles in one of the videos. Like, like that's just so bizarre. And he has this, war against processed food. And at one stage he says the worst thing you can do is go to Burger King. And it like, shortly after that, you see him, like you said, kill a poor animal in a field and eat its balls and liver with your kids. And you think the worst thing you can do is go into a fucking Burger King. Are you taking the piss? It's so twisted. It's so fucking twisted. And that's the type of person who thinks they're killing an animal like with respect. We're using the whole animal. He says we eat it from tongue to tail. Ugh, gross. You do see him eating a cow's tongue at one point, and it's like absolutely horrendous.
But they look like they're gagging eating it.
Oh, absolutely.
I think as well, like what got me is during that whole thing, you could sort of see the kids were almost half laughing.
Totally.
It's so ridiculous. I know you don't do this often. I can tell by your kids. Because actually, kids are the best. Like the kids are like tweens, teens. They're kind of those two boys are not very performative boys.
They're
I was
not.
like, they don't seem that comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah.
They're sort of half smiling the entire time because they know this is stupid. And
Yeah.
I have the feeling they know this is really made up.
Yeah.
Like, so it was interesting to me watching it. I was like, the parents were like, yeah, they're really, and the kids were like, what?
Yeah.
They're almost like looking at the camera like, what are you you know, we're just like, yeah, of course, we do this all the time. Like, you know.
Totally. There was
yeah.
there was absolutely that going on.
Hi, Fad Camp listeners. Myself and Conor finally got our act together and we have official Fad Camp merch up for sale. We are so excited. Now, my particular favourite is the enamel mug and the beanie, but we have loads of products for sale. So if you want to get any of our Fad Camp merch, please go to fadcamp.myshopify.com. That's fadcamp.myshopify.com. You'll be able to find the link to where our merch is for sale in our Instagram bio and our TikTok bio, as well as we'll have a little link in all of our episode descriptions.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the episode. If you want to hear more bonus exclusive content for Fad Camp, make sure to log on to Head Stuff Plus, and for as little as $5 a month, you can support our show and other shows in the Head Stuff Podcast Network and hear exclusive content from Fad Camp. That's bonus episodes, photos, videos. It's a really good time, so we hope to see you there. Now, back to the show.
So, you know, like you said yourself, it is kind of a documentary of two halves, and there's allegations from the beginning that, you know, you take one look at this man and you go, that's a man on steroids. There's no possible way for someone to look that way at steroids.
He's also in his 40s, I might add.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
But he vehemently denies having any steroids and claims that he got this way from his ancestral lifestyle, his natural lifestyle, his wild lifestyle, his supplements, his training. And Grace, I know you've seen the documentary, but like some of our viewers may be shocked to hear that throughout the course of the documentary, it's revealed through leaked emails that Johnson was taking $11,000 worth of human growth hormone, or HGH, a month. A month. It's extreme. It's an extreme amount. And like, this is like high level, like steroid use, you know?
So Conor, this is where I started laughing out loud, because I was like, well, duh. You know, like, but
no
what was so
shit.
funny, no shit. But what was so funny is, first of all, the amount, not only was he taking steroids, but he was taking enough steroids to like fuel an entire gym. Like I'm like an entire gym full of men, right? And not only that, it was his reaction to getting found out that I found really funny, because he was asked point blank on like two podcasts, two prominent ones, are you on steroids? No. He just says, no, absolutely not. No, I'm all natural. And then when he's found out, what I found hysterically funny about it was he has the entire time talked about how he wants to raise his sons to be men, real men. You know, not back down, not back down, not back down. Be real men, be real men. And then the moment he's like, you know, found out about the steroids, he's like, yeah, so I was on steroids. I turned to my wife, I was like, what you doing? She's like, oh, let's just lie. And he's like, yeah, let's just lie. So it's like, so you have no problem. You want your sons to be men. And then the moment, because the whole time he's like, I want them to stand on their own 2 feet and take responsibility. And then the moment he's found out, he's like, yeah, so I just think the kids should know I lie. Lie is a great. And he was just going to lie. He kind of did at the beginning and then just came out with the truth because he was forced to.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what's so funny about it. Even the creation of what a man is a complete falsehood. Like, you're not even willing to own up to your mistakes until you are absolutely forced to do so.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what's sad, because that's what being, I think, not only a man, but a person is, that you own up to your mistakes when you make them.
Yeah.
And what's sad is that he doesn't appear that that's what's masculine in the world. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think what's frustrating about the documentary is that the story is told from his perspective, and he is absolutely given the opportunity to spin the story in his favor.
Yeah.
You know, even the element of his downfall, which comes, you know, structurally at the exact moment you would expect it to come in one of these kind of underdog stories.
Yeah.
And yeah, he does say, like, you know, when the emails, because there's literally like his emails that he was sending to a person, and, you know, like, and there's redacted stuff on it, but it's like very clear. And he's like, his reaction was like, oh, you got me. they got me, like literally, like that's, I remember him saying that, like, and it's like, so yeah, it was a grift, it was a lie. This whole thing was a con. And like, it's so funny because it's not like
11,000, sorry. Yeah.
But it's not even like, you're someone who is like an athlete and, the source of all of my athletic powers are from these performance enhancing drugs. No, you sell supplements. You sell supplements, and basically you're saying that the supplements aren't enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you need to supplement the supplements with steroids, the supplements aren't doing shit.
But also, not even that the supplements aren't enough. They're so little that you need $11,000 worth of steroids every month.
Oh my God.
I think what really got me is the email that he sends, and I thought this was a really interesting detail. He said in the email when he's reaching out about the supplements, or about the steroids, sorry, he goes, ever since I've hit my 40s, I just can't get rid of this back fat.
Yes.
And that really annoyed me, actually. That's the bit that annoyed me, because I'm like, you know what? That's what not being honest is.
Yeah.
It means that people, as they age, you don't have the same muscle definition. Of course you don't.
But you're the person going online telling people,
but you are.
Look at me. You can be just like me by doing these 7 or 9 things that I do. He
has the tenets or something. Yeah. Again, like some godlike bullshit.
Yeah.
And like, it's the fact that he's like, I can't actually fight this nature thing, but I'm just going to completely lie and say I can, and then sell young men in particular bull testicles in a fucking pill and tell them that they're wrong if they're not working out the same way and getting the same results.
Yeah.
It is so wrong. And that's why, like, whatever you want to do with your body, that's the thing, is up to you. But at least be honest. And if you're going to run a business, if you're going to make money off it, you have to be especially honest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I have issues with anyone who does this. I had issues with Oprah being the head of Weight Watchers and then on Ozempic.
Yeah.
And then being like, oh yeah, so you need to be on Ozempic. And you're like, but for years you said, and then when you did do Ozempic, you kind of didn't say it for a while still working at Weight Watchers, while still getting money from that. I have a problem with that.
Absolutely.
Like, I just have a problem with whatever you want to do with your body. I don't have a problem with. I have a problem with you making money off something, saying it works, and actually doing something else.
Being dishonest in business is not a good thing. It's common. But being dishonest in a business that is specifically related to people's health, that's like fucking reckless. That is reckless,
Yeah.
So
I brought an Oprah out of nowhere there, but I'm using it as an example. You know what I mean?
Oprah keeps popping up on podcasts where I'm like, interesting. I think she just tends to like put her name to a lot of questionable things,
Yeah.
But so with Brian Johnson, the Liver King, basically, so when he was found out, he did like a sort of like, a confession video, right? Mm-hmm. And that had its own kind of fallout. And then like a while after that, he did this documentary. And, you see these documentaries pop up on Netflix all the time. And you see lots of like kind of like true crime expose type documentaries where you're like, oh, this person, like, they got their comeuppance and stuff like. So I want to talk a little bit about like how this went down. But basically, in the epilogue of the documentary, Johnson shared that he no longer takes performance-enhancing drugs, sure. And then he also admitted to not following a strict carnivore diet. Now, implementing fruits and vegetables into his diets. And here's a quote: "Vegetables and testicles, I can have all of it. I was so convinced all of the carnivore stuff, that's what you really need to kick ass in life. I'm convinced now that I was starving myself." So Grace,
Conor,
that's what you say to a mate. Like I said earlier, that's what you say to a mate when you come off an extreme diet and you go, "Jesus, what was I thinking?" That's not what you're saying to 3 million followers who literally bought into your BS with their time and money and helped you your company earn $100 million a year off your lies. He claimed that his physique was built on his diet and his own supplements, and he was literally lying and taking HGH the whole time. Like, this is absolutely madness. The Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves and the 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life. Our young men are hurting, feeling lost, weak and submissive. So I made it my job to model, teach and preach a simple, elegant solution. Simple and elegant? No. Solution called ancestral living. Then the 9 ancestral tenets. Like, so even in his apology video, he's plugging his stuff. So our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express our highest and most dominant form. This was taken from an article in Men's Health, and they said, regardless of how he professed to be taking extreme ownership with his admission, the admission lacked a key ingredient, which was real accountability for the true fallout of his lies. And the Netflix documentary has been strikingly similar in that Johnson seems to misunderstand that the vulnerable people he vows to be helping are the very people he is hurting and taking advantage of, you know?
Yeah. Because I think what kills me is that again and again and again in diet culture, the products are never to blame. It's never the product's fault.
Right.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
If you're not sticking to the diet, it's your fault. If you're not taking the product properly, it's your fault. So then actually when these things come out, like Ozempic, like this lie here, the steroids, we go, oh, so like the other things didn't actually work and it wasn't your fault. It was. And like what happens with guys like this is that young lads order these testy pills and they don't understand why it's not making them big, muscly, and then they might get a bit of body deformity. But sure, it doesn't matter. That's not going to...
They blame themselves.
Or maybe it might lead to an eating disorder. No, that's not. Like, that's no big deal. They'll blame themselves, though. And, you know, like the isolation and loneliness that comes with that and the shame. And this guy's like, oh, I was trying to help people who are a bit fat. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about, man? You
so,
know?
Absolutely. Like after his... the YouTube video that did the admissions, about his steroid abuse, a $25 million lawsuit from customers accusing him of fraud began. However, that case was dropped, and I looked more into that. I couldn't find like what happened there. You know, it's a lawsuit. Like these things happen kind of behind closed doors, but that was dropped. And after a brief hiatus from social media, the Liver King returned with 2.9 million followers. And I checked it today at the time of recording. He still has 2.9 million followers. And there's been backlash to the documentary with people saying it paints him as this underdog with a redemption arc and has only added to his visibility, with even the director calling him a marketing genius, which I think is bullshit considering he had a marketing company, you know, creating all of this nonsense.
This is what I actually found very frustrating as well. Not only there's a marketing company and then he has a business manager.
Yeah.
Who both at the end are like, yeah, I can't believe he lied.
I can't believe he lied.
First of all, you're not stupid.
Yeah, come on.
If a marketing company pushes people online and knows how to work social media, you are not stupid. And actually, you're just rinsing your hands and pretending like there's no possible way you could have done, I don't know, like a second more of like an investigation to this. I'm not saying, because obviously you can't say that they knew full well, but I'm like, I'm sorry, but like you can't tell me you had no suspicions. Like I find it very hard to believe, because you're quite intelligent people. Like if you manage to run a successful business, I think you're intelligent. And also in the documentary, they basically say that they had to encourage him to create this persona.
They totally did.
He didn't come up with this themselves. They were like, he wanted this thing. We were like, this is how you do it.
This is how you do it.
And the business partner as well, at the end, he was like, why did you convince us to eat all these bull testicles? Which again, I found very funny. But again, it was like all this stuff of washing your hands. I think a lot of people do this again and again, where they hoist up these, because this man, by the way, at the end, not only plot twist, he takes steroids on camera.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. He then also talks about the fact that when he was a kid, he used to steal a lot, or like a teenager, steal a lot from work, and was such a con man, he printed his own money and got away with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is, let's be honest, a con man.
A con man with a massive platform.
Yeah.
With a massive platform.
And then, Sorry, I'm going to say apparently, but he actually confessed to it, so I'm not in trouble by saying he
totally,
confessed to it.
Yeah. Well, so the director also kind of washes his hands of it by saying, as far as I'm concerned, as a documentary maker, I made a cautionary tale about what can and can't happen to someone who is enigmatically selling ideas that people want to buy into. So kind of blaming the audience there, the people for wanting to buy into these enigmatic ideas, which he says that's dangerous. Pearl says but there's a big fucking warning sign on this film saying do not follow the people who talk like this. It's like, come on, man, is that what people are going to remember, is like your warning sign for the movie, or like how awesome the Liver King is?
And I think in the documentary what I find really disappointing is not once do they have a doctor come in and talk to him. Not once do they have maybe someone who actually bought his product come in and go, I actually spent this much and you told me that you were only on this. Why not even interview a few people who actually spent thousands or hundreds or whatever? Like, there's a lot of young lads who wouldn't have had that much money that spent money on his products, and not one of them were interviewed for this documentary. Like, if you really wanted to show the fallout of this sort of stuff, I always find that, like, when you don't talk to one victim of it, then I'm like, well, what's the...
I was curious about that as well. And while I couldn't find any people on Google who were saying that they got, like, you know, any kind of poisoning from any of his... I
wouldn't say poisoning, but what I mean is that if you spent a load of money on something that you were told works a certain way, and then the person selling it's like, oh, yeah, I actually take like $11,000 worth of steroids every month. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I guess it's like, even though the documentary didn't have a doctor, like we have Dr. Google, and I did a little bit of searching, you know, and like... I read that eating raw meat, the biggest risk that you may encounter is contracting a foodborne illness, which is commonly referred to as food poisoning. Common pathogens in raw meat include salmonella, Clostridium perfringens, E. coli, Listeria, monocytogenes, and Campylobacter. So lots of bacteria, basically.
Yeah.
Generally, properly cooking meat destroys potential. I can't believe I have to read this because should all be kind of common knowledge, but like it destroys harmful pathogens. On the other hand, pathogens remain in raw meat. Thus, eating raw meat greatly increases your risk of developing foodborne illness, and you should proceed with caution. Certain at-risk populations, such as children, pregnant or nursing women, and older adults should avoid eating raw meat altogether. And also, guess what, Grace? Would you be surprised if I told you that there's been no proven benefits to eating raw meat, like overcooked meat?
Shocked surprise.
I'm so sorry to shatter your entire world, Grace. So this is from Healthline, and they say that though some claim that raw meat is superior to cooked meat in regards to nutritional value and health, there's limited evidence to support this notion. Several anthropologists promote the idea that the practice of cooking food, especially meat, has allowed humans to evolve. Kind of like what you're saying about like the caveman and their fire, as cooking breaks down proteins and makes it easier to chew and digest. Some studies suggest that cooking meat may reduce its content of certain vitamins and minerals, including thiamine, riboflavin, a bunch of things. However, there are studies, these same studies also note that levels of other minerals, specifically copper, zinc, and iron, increase after cooking. Any potential benefits of eating raw meat are likely outweighed by the higher risk of contracting a foodborne illness. So it's not worth it.
Yeah. It's not worth it. And it's insane that we have to say that. But it's not worth it. Like, don't eat raw testes.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You don't have anything to prove. Like that, and that's not going to help anything. And it might make you sick. And it definitely makes you a creep.
It definitely makes you a creep. And I think just like one thing I will say about the documentary. Now, again, you see, I look at it through older eyes. So I've been, you know what I mean? But it's like the time that I watched that documentary about the guy who drank juices for 60 days and then I signed up to do that.
Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead, the documentary, yeah.
And I was like 23, 24. And I was like, let's go, baby. Because I was in my 20s and I wanted someone to tell me how to live. Because that's what you're looking for. Yeah. You're looking for an adult to come along and tell you. So you are vulnerable. And actually, as a society, because of all of the intensity around how we look, and we're online a lot. We're just hoping someone comes and tells us there's one way to live. There's actually no one way to live. It's own, like a friend of mine asked me one time after doing fad camp for a long time, she's like, what is the diet so to do?
Yeah.
You guys keep debunking diets. And I'm like, I think the unfortunate truth is there is no one diet.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually depends on where you are in your life and what your body needs at that point in your life. Like, I don't know. I'm not here to tell you what to eat. I'm just here to tell you that there's a lot of people out there who want to tell you they have the answer. And there is no answer. There's no one answer. I would listen to, you know, a lot of like doctors and nurses and things like that when it comes to like your tailored health, because they've gone and studied for many years. But at the same time, it's like where you are in life, and food is not your enemy. Food is fantastic, okay? But cook it, for the love of Christ. Because our ancestors found fire and they went, you know what now, that solves a lot of issues we're having. A lovely big fire. Let's cook some shit. And then we're like, thousands of years later, for some reason being like, nah, let's go back raw. That's stupid. Okay? And your ancestor who found fire, finding you in a lovely central heated house with electricity and living till like, 90s, would kick you in the dick if he found you eating a raw testy. Because he'd be like, do you know how hard we had it and how easy you have it? Sorry, I've gone on a rant here, but that's just stupid. He's like, you get to watch TV? TV? You have aircon? Do you know what we had to go through?
Thanks for listening to this episode of Fad Camp. As always, we want to thank our producer, Darren Lee. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to review us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Great ratings and reviews really help more people find the show, and it would mean a lot to us.
Make sure to share the episodes with friends and family or on your social media. Every listen helps.
And we absolutely love hearing from our listeners, so please get in touch with any of your diet stories on fadcamppodcast@gmail.com.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with Head Stuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.